Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Heroes Lounge Rare Cup. We're going to go into our second quarterfinal of today's Rare Cup. This is going to be Just Cause versus BeeHive. So we are almost ready to go into game number one, which will be on Volskaya Foundry. Now, Yosh, what's the deal with these two teams? They seem like they are both very strong.
Well, you see, Just Cause is a very solid team. 10 wins in the regular season, 3 wins in the cup. They have dropped some maps, but their playstyle and the way that they are playing that playstyle, the way that they are executing is just pretty solid. They go engage Just Cause, they go and kill people Just Cause, they go and take the course Just Cause. Just don't ban Liming against them, as said in their team profile. Against them, we do have BeeHive, #1 team from Division 6, 9 on their belt, dropping a single game to Stray Dogs, who unfortunately were not able to make it out of groups. Losing one game in the group as well, forcing them to go to second seed, losing it to Facepalm Tacticians, who I believe are casted on... Or actually, they have already won their series, right? On the second channel.
Facepalm Tacticians did win 2-1, yes, on the second channel. And now there's another series going on over there, which I believe is Forum and Error versus Britwing.
So yeah, BeeHive dropping one match in the groups. While speaking with their captain, they said it was a bit of a problem because they were coming out of the vacation. They were a little bit unready. But that slap on the face has woken them up. They have won the rest of their matches, and they are here now banning out the Lunara against Just Cause. They do play a lot of White Main, which is why it is the first ban.
They have indeed, so banned White Main first there. So yeah, again, priorities. I mean, White Main I think is a really strong healer in the right hands. It's just quite hard to work with, but if it's a comfort pick, and especially a lot of players are not used to playing against her, it's very difficult. Somebody in the chat asking, what is the second channel? It's twitch.tv/heroes_lounge2, where Dentro and Yosh are currently casting Fulcrum and Erha versus Britwing.
I think that's...
Sorry, sorry, Dentro and Samu, sorry. Yosh is, of course, here with me.
I can cast several games at once, I just did not find a way to broadcast it yet.
Yes. Well, we should have done like a double cast, double game. Let's not do that though, as we are currently watching Just Cause versus BeeHive here in the second quarterfinal. Cassia banned, solid meta ban there. You know, very commonly first banned in Storm League and stuff. What is going to be the first pickup here for Just Cause on Volskaya Foundry?
Ooh, yeah, they do like their Imperius, and their Imperius really likes the W taunt on level 1, a fact which has been memed by a lot of people, including myself, and probably only myself, but still. They are known for dropping a lot of games in the group stage with picking their W on level 1 and winning a lot of games after picking different talents, which is going to be a very interesting mix-up. Tester taken away by their opponents and ETC as well. Just Cause are known as a team that has played Cassador a lot, and I mean a lot, basically perfecting the playstyle. He forever likes his Cassia, which is why it's gonna be banned. But even without the Cassador, they are still very, very disruptive. They are still very, very oppressive and very, very aggressive with their engages with Imperius as their figurehead and as their spearhead, you might say.
As their spearhead, exactly, yeah. Yeah, he's going to be so important, flanking as well. Imagine that first objective where the conveyor belt is coming in from the side, but also those later objectives where you can kind of wrap around quite easily because you're pocketed off to the side. It's very hard to control a single entry point. So Imperius may be impactful there in those kind of objective engages. ATC picked up, of course, by BeeHive should be a good tool for controlling Imperius and any other dive that comes with him. But Joanna will give him a hard time too.
And you do have the Deckard on the side of Just Cause, which is a healer that they do like to play with 11 picks, being their 4th most picked hero. And they do find their sleeps rather nicely, and their sleeps have been many, have saved many a game in the time.
Yes, it's such a hugely important teamfight control ability to set up things as well. Zul picked up from Erda on BeeHive there. That's a really nice pick up there. You're going to be able to double soak. I suspect that Zul in the solo, isn't it? Which is maybe not quite the most common usage of Zul. It's quite nice to have Zul on the 4 and constantly be rotating and putting ridiculous pressure. Of course, Zul can still double soak, and they may push 4 bots. That could be a strategy here from BeeHive. Put Zul double soaking top and mid, but then that makes it quite easy for the enemy team to rotate and respond, as Li Ming and Reina get picked up by Just Cause.
Wow, the Rainer is not a character that I see often from the side of GC because they just associate with me with those aggressive and very blow-uppy engages. I would have expected to see a second mage in possibly the Jaina even on their side, but there's going to be a choice that they will go for. There's going to be a little bit of a mix-up. I don't think that BeeHive were expecting that. Speaking of BeeHive, another Rhaegar coming out. I don't think that will be a bloodlust, but that could very well be.
I was thinking it will be a bloodlust because you've got the Valor, you've got the Zul who may go Tinder build and just swipe, 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 and you've got the Tassadar who's going to have Archon, and that's really lovely synergy for bloodlust. The problem they have, and this is maybe I suspect why you were thinking they may not go for that bloodlust, is because the stay a while and listen could just completely shut it down. And so there will be a lot in this game, if they do go for bloodlust versus stay a while, about that mind games between the heroic of one support and the heroic of the other, and it will come a lot down to decision making by those two players.
Yes, indeed. And I know that it's usually not shown on the actual stream, but as a Division 7 player myself, I need to take your attention to the most important metric, which is portrait synergy, and Just Cause are bringing it up with 5 Carpet Lunars, while BeeHive are seemingly unarranged on their side.
Well, let's see how the portrait synergy gets on as we go into game number 1 in this best of 3 final. And on the left, in blue, it's Just Cause, with Heathen on the Reina, Norek on the Joanna, Dusterhisa on Deckard Kane, T Forever with a great name on Li Ming, and Earl Grey on Imperius.
And on the right, for the Polish squad of BeeHive, we have Juvar on Rhaegar, Nico Teta playing Zavala, Danny on EDC, Bedril choosing up the Tester, and Erde playing as Zul.
So, is lovely team names, I have to say, from Just Cause. They could almost be in Band of Brewers. Please, no conspiracy theories in the chat about Just Cause being a Smurf team of Band of Brewers.
I mean, they did become a Smurfer team, so which was a fact that caused a lot of commotion in the early weeks of Division 7. But, I mean, if you have made it that far and has not been disqualified, I would assume that you are playing fairly.
I think they are definitely not Smurfs. So, but as these teams both rotate, level 1s are in. Tassadar going for the stacking static charge there, allowing him to get those stacks up and running. So, ETC sliding sensibly to safety so far, and I think that's going to be important here. Is how much can ETC kind of go up and all up in the enemy's grill and pressure them, and then slide out to safety. And I think that's going to be a lot of the way they control those rotations, as Vala and Rhaegar go straight for that camp.
Well, the cow might be playing with fire, but if the cow steps a little bit too far, it will get burned and become a burger instead. We do have the triangle from Dasterize to stop BeeHive from trying to engage on the turret, which is a very cheeky, very clean play, and both teams will prefer to not engage in aggressive combat so far.
Yes, absolutely. So both teams doing fairly even rotations so far. Both lanes cleared easily enough. Slight XP advantage there for for BeeHive. I think that's because Zul is faster at clearing the waves than Imperius. But it seems like a couple of minions were maybe missed by Just Cause. And in fact, that fast wave clear is being used by BeeHive as a means to position on this objective. But Joanna steps in, has that Iron Skin. They're going to start contesting this objective. ETC's falling low.
That's a 3-man kill from the Imperius. The blow-up comes out on the ETC, traded for the Johanna, Erde, Juvard, Earl Grady Forever, and Bedril, all on the objective. However, Just Cause seem to lose this fight as everyone's falling down except for Hidden and Industrialized. Raynor too low to continue fighting.
It's an absolute massacre here. An absolute massacre from both of these teams. 3 kills apiece, but it's ultimately BeeHive who secure control of that objective. And both teams used their turrets, desperate to win that fight, win that objective. And ultimately, it was secured by BeeHive. But again, you know, in terms of kills, it was even. 3 kills apiece so far. I know if there's one thing we've seen so far today, Yosh, it's games with even kill scores.
Well, even kills might be even kills on the first glance, but if we're looking a little bit further, we do see that BeeHive are having a slight XP lead, which is very slight, but which can snowball into some very, very nice circumstances for the Polish squad. We did see a very nice Zul rotation from the bot lane to the mid lane just before the objective to feature how Zul can still double soak on this map and can be quite effective at that while the team was 4 men in the objective.
By the way, it is Tinder build from Zul, the swipe talent at 4 and at 7 so far. And I think with Bloodlust, he's just going to go chop, 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 chop and try to cut through the enemy team. Of course, there will be a blind. There may be a sleep as well from Deckard Kane. And there may be...
coming out on Hidden there as the Raynor becomes the first target of the engage. However, the Q in response on top of Erde and the Zul is blown up. The healing thing will definitely not help them. But the totem will survive for a little bit longer as the triangle connects with the ETC. And that's why Just Cause are a 10 victory team. They do know how to find their engages. And when they do, it's devastating.
Brilliant, brilliant execution there from Just Cause to secure the first kill on Zul. And that was even through the cleanse. Like, Rhaegar did that cleanse spot on Zul. And yet, he just got brought down by the sheer firepower of Imperius, Li Ming, and Raynor. Deckard Kane's such a good hero as well for controlling this objective. Just building up potions in anticipation of the fight. Right now, not actually building up any potions here. But now Dustohiza turns up to start dropping potions in anticipation.
87, 80, 91% is where the timer will stop versus 59 of BeeHive. But there is an instant free engage from Just Cause. We do have the wall. We do have the engage on top of Nico Teta, who will just blink out but still end up in the triangle and the orb connecting with everyone. ETC is dead, Valley is dead, and the Zul is dead as well. Why? Just Cause.
Did you see the value of those ruby potions there from Deckard Kane? Ruby at the level 4 there, and the ground here was just covered in tiny potions that the frontliners of Just Cause were able to just pick up and keep sustaining themselves incredibly.
You know, until level 13, the size of the potion doesn't matter, because the ruby potions do heal a lot on their own, and I have actually heard a lot of calls for the talent to be nerfed, but it does require a certain playstyle to make value out of, because you need to go to the place where the potions are to get the healing, and Just Cause was there very aggressive, very in your face, very past your face and killing your, I don't know, playstyle, making perfect value out of the champ.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, because Imperius can't keep up with the Zul's double soaking, they're going to miss a little bit of soak here, Just Cause. So I think Just Cause definitely looking to have the advantage so far in those sustained fights on points where things are tightly controlled. But Zul is outplaying Imperius on this macro. ETC slides in, doesn't quite catch onto Joanna, has the mosh pit available. Bloodlust 2. Archon's been popped though. Archon's been popped, and maybe a little bit of miscommunication here, because I don't think they were actually going to fight. And I think they're wanting normally to time that Archon with the Bloodlust to get maximum value. But the Archon is down now, and the Bloodlust isn't.
That misclick will allow Just Cause to get a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a free time. That 80 seconds of no ultimate, which are actually 90 seconds, but 10 seconds have passed scenes. The ultimate has been pressed, and yeah, Just Cause right now in a rather solid position, 8 to 3 in kills. However, that does not uh, look that way on the minimap or on the XP screen. And now going for the healing camp, which is probably their opportunity to try and take it over. The mosh pit is interrupted by the wave of force. The poison nova is there, but the Q on 2 people to stay a while. ETC is dead. Rhaegar is dead. Zul and Vala are dead as well. And Bedril, the only survivor on the side of BeeHive. Of course, it's a bee Pokemon that survives.
Brilliant Li Ming play so far from T Forever. Like, what we're seeing is as soon as one kill gets secured, the rest are falling like dominoes, and it's you know, you love to see this kind of quality Li Ming play here from T Forever, but yeah, it seems like the composition of Just Cause is so good at just taking down the members of BeeHive. The mosh pit only went on short cooldown because it was interrupted during the dip moment. So they still have the mosh pit, but they did use the Bloodlust. Archon is back up, and now you can see how that one mistiming of Archon earlier is starting to disrupt them, because it's kind of out of sync with Bloodlust for, you know, for the next 30 seconds. I don't think they're going to fight in those 30 seconds though, so it probably won't be a big issue just now. But maybe, you know, if they'd had Archon in that last fight, they could have done a little bit more and got some kills, or stopped Li Ming from jumping in so aggressively.
Not only that, but also Just Cause have managed to find themselves a talent advantage off of that, which further makes BeeHive not want to engage. But they still do. They are trying to find a wall on Earl Grey and engage on Hidden. The power slide will be there, but the Bloodlust is pressed alongside the Archon, but the stay a while and listen will stop the backline. And in fact, Raynor is dead already, traded for the Vala. We do see the bodies start falling. Juvar not looking too great, but the mosh pit on 2 is quite nice. Danny, however, dying right after the mosh pit is ended. Juvar not feeling too great either. Tester dying, and Erde will finish out the ace for Just Cause. Jesus Christ.
An uninterrupted mosh pit, and they still couldn't get the kills necessary. Raynor was dead, so that slowed down the burst potential of Just Cause, and yet they still managed to get those kills with the Li Ming at the end of the day. And it was a really tricky situation there, I think, for Just Cause, and yet they showed themselves on top, and they are now level 16, a talent up, 3 levels up, 13 takedowns ahead, and they're going to secure the top fort and probably the top objective.
And I have to mention that the fact how luckily the Stay While and Listen hit, because it did not hit on any one of the frontliners, it hit just the backliners, which on one side you want to sleep as many targets as possible, but on the other, it did allow Just Cause to set up the blow-ups that they wanted to achieve while the frontline was moving further ahead, only looking at the Raynor.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good flanking play from Just Cause as well to punish that stretching to kill the Raynor. And, you know, yes, they got that Raynor kill. And by the way, I do think it was the right call from BeeHive to say we've got to go for this gank on Raynor. We've got to make something happen when we were down in XP and we're losing main fights. But you just got so stretched, and as you say, that stay a while and listen, so crucial at stopping that Bloodlust from getting more value.
And yeah, we see the things that Unleashed has experienced in the previous series. BeeHive now are a little bit too scared to fight, in my opinion. You do know that you're losing a lot of those teamfights, you're losing them very decisively. And do not want to do it, but you also need to stop the robot somehow, because it has destroyed the fort in the mid lane, the fort in the top lane, the well-down bot, and just provides more and more opportunities for Just Cause to snowball. 17 to 14, the talent advantage is still going for the blue side. Nico Teta is gonna receive a lot of damage from that laser blowing up, and the fight is going to happen soon, at least. It looks like it.
I think they're going to try to avoid fighting and just play for that 16, but that means they will have to give up that bottom fort in order to do that. Maybe they give up their turret as well. ETC here. That's nice anchoring from Danny on the ETC, knowing that there's a potential invade. Of course, Just Cause not interested. They say, look, we're just going to go and get the healing item. We don't need to take any risks. We've got an advantage already. We're 2 forts up. We're 2 levels up. All we have to do now is play safe and solid until level 20, and then we've won the game. And that's kind of quite calm decision making from Just Cause, not trying to press, not trying to squeeze every advantage out. That may be a little bit of the pressure of the Rare Cup, of course. You know, like I was saying earlier, there's a psychology aspect to not wanting to take too many risks, but also I think it's about discipline in decision making.
And that is a very defining attribute of Division 7 this season. We do have a lot, and I mean a lot, of very, very aggressive teams that are gonna dive past your front line, past your back line even, and just eviscerate everyone. But we are smart about choosing our engages, and that's probably one of the biggest differences between the Division 7 of old and Division 7 this season, and probably this is the biggest reason why our top teams were so great in this cup. Providing 4 players in this playoff, that is a big number for a lower division in the cup.
Look at this entrance being anchored by Norak. Slide doesn't connect onto Joanna. She steps back. So this is the moment when BeeHive need to force the fight. And I don't think the Just Cause are going to allow it, given what I'm seeing about that movement so far. All they Just Cause really want to do now is just sit back and wait for that 20. But BeeHive need to be taking the fight pre-20. 16 versus 18 at the moment. It's about to be 16 versus 19. That's a 3-level deficit. That's unpleasant. But you know what's going to be more unpleasant is when they've got a 2 or 3 level deficit versus 20 as well. Zul, though, going to go and soak it. Seems they're going to give the 4, but that means they're giving the 20 as well if they go. No, Zul's coming back in. They want to take this fight.
But the question is, how do you find this fight? Because if you try to go on the Johanna will survive, the Johanna will find the blast shield on you, and you're going to get blown up. And the backline is playing quite safe as of now. Danny finding a power slide on the Johanna, but not catching hidden there. And that is very nice spacing from the backliners of Just Cause. Earl Grey also sitting back, not willing to get engaged upon, because he knows that any engage that the enemy team will go on is his chance.
Zul's not here, you know. They're taking this fight without Zul right now. Zul's on his way down. Bloodlust has been popped with the Archon, and they've dodged the sleep, or everyone except ETC has. So the sleep has been countered, but the Bloodlust Archon has been used, and Zul wasn't there, so they couldn't really follow up on that fight. I wonder if a little bit BeeHive are cracking under the pressure here. The Division 6 champions, and yet it just felt like they weren't quite on the same page there about whether they should engage or whether they should soak.
And yes, those honeycombs are melting away like candles. We do, however, see that Tester is stacking up nicely. We do have 200 extra damage on the level 1, which is not going to be something that will completely turn over the game, but is quite nice for a losing team. Vala is also almost about to finish stacking the Creed of the Hunter on level 4. But the team will prefer to play safe because they are playing versus level 20.
So I tell you what, I think actually what the game plan of BeeHive there is this is our last moment before level 20. We might as well use our heroics, because by the time we get level 20 again, you know, by the time we get level 20, they're going to be back up. The heroics are going to be back up. So that's why they used the cooldowns then, and they thought, well, if we get a kill, we get a kill. If we don't, you know, fine, we just go with 20, which is what we were going to do anyway. So I think, given that they played that engage very safely in the end and they didn't commit too hard, it was a reasonable decision for BeeHive, because now they do have those heroics back up. And you know, they made an opportunity. Yes, it didn't turn it into anything, but you know, there's an argument to say they maybe could have got a kill or something.
And well, that's a robot. And while the robot was being captured by Just Cause, BeeHive have been working hard like the worker bees that they are, trying to get themselves level 20. Unfortunately, only getting up to level 19 and the 3rd, but it's sometimes easier to fight past the robot than trying to fight without the robot on the enemy team. So you can potentially just find an engage there on Dusterize, on Hidden, blows them up, and then try to deal with P4ever, then try to deal with the Johanna.
But it's the 20 that's scaring them off right now. They need to get that level 20. It's fine for them to back off and give this keep, in my view, but they are choosing to threaten the Protector. I'm surprised Just Cause aren't playing more aggressively. Again, I think there might be a little bit of sort of rare cup nerves. That's a stun onto ETC. Joanna, they're in the robot, so she can't follow up with a Blessed Shield. And for now...
Meanwhile, BeeHive getting some macro advantages on the map. The fort up top is falling down as a nice bit of cancellation price even. That is going to be a trade of a fort for fort, I believe, on that objective.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yes, they got half a keep, but half a keep with the third Protector of the game, not a huge value, given especially they also have the level 20. Now they've got to be so cautious. They have got the level 20, but the Rhaegar's not quite here. Death Metal?
Outlast, but it will not work. The Death Mosh, however, will come up huge for BeeHive. However, it will not result in any more kills, which is the saddest part of the equation. T4ever falling very low, but being able to go away. Earl Grey with a Q on Zul, resulting in a kill. Nico Teta gonna get triangled and gonna get killed by the triangle. What was the damage even? Beedrill not looking too great, and that's a 4-kill.
And I think, I suspect that's game. And again, I think it's just a missed communication here from BeeHive. I think they weren't, or like ETC and the other players weren't quite on the same page. First of all, on the engage itself, because I think they were a little bit split. And ETC was probably saying, let's go in, and they were saying, wait, we're not there. But then also on the Death Metal, as soon as they saw ETC was dead, the members of BeeHive started running. And I think they probably could have followed up on that Death Metal and got a bit more value. But wow, what an incredible play here from Just Cause to control this game and take game number 1 in this best of 3 series. So, Volskaya, game number 1 goes over to Just Cause. They are 1-0 up in this series so far.
And I think it's not even about the fact that Just Cause are ahead, but about the fact how Just Cause got ahead. 21-4, try to beat that.
Yes, but then at the end, you know, fair play to BeeHive. They held themselves together really well to get that level 20, and then at level 20 they didn't quite get that engaged together, which is unfortunate. I think there was a lot of nice control there from Just Cause as well. Just lock down ETC for a long time and take him out.
And first pick coming out from Beedrill, which does mean that Just Cause will be choosing our map for game number 2. They like picking Ultrax, they like picking Test Hollow, but they take Tomb in this particular situation.
Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Speaking about maps where Imperial can get advantages, Tomb of the Spider Queen, a lot of narrow corridors in which the queen can absolutely pop off.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, we saw a really interesting Tomb of the Spider Queen in the last quarterfinal, and where there were different kinds of ideas, and the wave clear was so important for the winning team there, who managed to go through. So it's gonna be a lot about draft here in game number 2 here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
And yeah, Tomb of the Spider Queen, funnily enough, can be played in a lot of different ways. You can try to go for those aggressive blocks and just try to obliterate your opponent into dust. But I think that the approach that we have seen a lot from the lower team, from the lower division teams, in this case, is a lot of laid back play. You don't need to fight. You don't need to fight. Every fight is a chance to lose the fight, which will be bad for you if you are ahead in the game. So you just sit there, you starve your opponent out of gems, out of options, you get in those waves, and you just slowly but surely get over them. I have seen a match go 3-2 on Tomb in Division 7. I have seen a match go 2-2 in Division 7 on Tomb last season, so don't need to fight a lot. Well, you don't need to kill a lot to win on this map.
It should be, yeah, I think there's different ways they can play this, and I think we may see a different battle of ideas here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. But we'll of course have to see how we go as we go into game number 2 in this best of 3. Now, what do you make of first pick being picked up here by BeeHive?
Well, as per always, you go first pick to secure the best heroes that's available, the best heroes that the enemy team will allow you to get. And you do get 3 picks before the third ban, which is, in my opinion, even more of a advantage than just having the opponent's first pick. And you also get the first ban, which could change your bans slightly, but I don't think those strategies will differ, because I believe that the teams have scouted each other pretty solidly.
Yes, I think so. These teams know each other pretty well, and they will be thinking a lot about how to play this series. What are the lessons that BeeHive needs to learn from the last game?
That is a good question. Ben Imperius? Question mark? I don't know, because the game seemed very harsh for BeeHive, and unfortunately there are storms in which you don't exactly know why you lost, and there are storms where you can find one big reason why you lost, and you try to look at that one big reason. I think the one big reason in this case was the Imperius, but I'm not sure if BeeHive will agree with me. We did see that they went very quickly into map number 2, which does mean that they did not have a lot of between games discussion, which might affect them a little bit negatively in this case.
So, Lunara banned, solid DPS and solid wave clear, and the white main band again targeted. What's the next ban going to be here from? Is this Joanna? Is it Ming? I mean, how do they play this? Remember the ETC ban?
That is interesting. I do know that Just Cause like picking ETC, that's their most picked tank, but it does seem a little bit like BeeHive counter picking themselves. Although they do have the first pick, which does mean that they want to secure something else. They want to secure something that's not the ETC, something. Maybe the Johanna. I've seen I've seen a Falstad that could work very well versus the team of Just Cause. And Just Cause ban now the Cassia, which I know that the Drill plays a bunch of Cassia and probably is the cornerstone of their strategy, but Cassia also huge on T forever, so both teams kind of counter picking them.
Imperius first picked, so they're prioritizing that Imperius, which was quite important in game number 1. Is that? I mean, are they going to play more aggressive? It does leave the Joanna open. Yeah, I was sort of expecting that Joanna first pick. There's the Deckard again, Dusterhisa. Solid Deckard in game number 1. And a solid Joanna as well from Norak. So
you give some, you lose some. Imperius, I think, is a very nice idea for a first pick. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be a main tank or a offlaner, because we have seen both. Already, Sylvanas been chosen for Nico Teta for a little bit of macro pressure, and Gul'dan is a hero that we don't always see, but is a hero that can be huge against the dive comps that Just Cause can provide with Horrified, with disengage tools that the Gul'dan has.
Absolutely true. And just to keep viewers updated on the current situation on the bracket more generally, Britwing are currently 1-0 up against Fuhum and Erha over on Heroes Lounge 2, and that's going to go into game 2 shortly, and we'll see how they're doing, of course. We'll keep you updated if we get any more news, because of course the winner of that series will play against the winner of this series, which could be Just Cause if they win this game number 2. You can, by the way, also bet on who you think is going to win this game number 2 by typing !bet A and a number of points to bet on Just Cause, or !bet B and a number to bet on BeeHive. So, back to the draft. What
Back
is going to be the next pickup here?
We do have the Ana Bend Out versus the Teslar, and what you have here is the backliners have to pick. I think there will be another Rainer for Hidden. I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen much play of Hidden. And the Arthas is actually a very solid, a very classic backup plan for Earl Grey, who is known as a little bit of a Imperious one-trick pony, which I think was noticeable in game number 1. And that's a Hanzo for Hidden. So another pick that likes to stay very much in the back, that does not like giving enemies opportunity to engage on top, but still has some very nice tools to force a fight.
Nice tank pickup here, the Mal'Ganis from Danny. Should be interesting. I like the Anduin pickup as well. That's definitely a strong healer. The Gul'dan's interesting to me because it suggests they're going for a bit more of a sustained fighty, wave cleary, pushy thingy. And Deckard is going to have quite a lot of answers to the sustain, and Joanna and Arthas are going to have quite a lot of answers to the push. There's the Greymane picked up. So if Arthas gets a root, you can go Blessed Shield, root from Arthas, Greymane follow-up. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously Anduin has his D, that'll save somebody once, and then they try it again. It depends. It's going to be interesting to see how BeeHive handle that. But right now it seems like Just Cause's draft seems to have answers to the main questions that BeeHive will put to them.
I like the fact that BeeHive are going for a little bit more of a laid-back composition. Like, we did see a lot of aggression from them the first time around with Rhaegar, with Zul. But this time around, they are willing to just chill. They are willing to stay back. You have to engage on us, you will engage on us, in a matter of fact. So, just wait until you do, and then we'll see what happens in the fight, right?
Yeah.
Imperious re-engages, we have seen them work out for Just Cause in game number 1, but maybe the tides will turn. The turns will table, and game number 2 will begin right about now.
And we go to game number 2. And we have on the left in blue Just Cause with T Forever on the Greymane, Dusterhisa on Deckard Cain, Earl Grey on Arthas the Lich King, Norak on Joanna, and Hidden on Hanzo, but he's very well not hidden.
And on the right, probably a little bit shell-shocked after that game number 1, but the Bee still stings, and the BeeHive still stands strong. Nico Teta is going to play as Sylvanas, Danny on the Mal'Ganis, Herde choosing the Imperious, Bedriel, the Bee in this case, playing as the Gul'dan, and Druvar choosing up the Anduin.
So, straight away the players go to the mid lane, going to have a bit of a skirmish. Arthur's thinking about rotating to the bot lane, but actually maybe more looking for a flank. Mal'Ganis steps up into the bush, and steps back out again.
That's kind of a big thing about Just Cause's playstyle as well. Their offlaner does not exactly play the offlane a lot. Don't get me wrong, he is able to sit in the offlane, he is able to play it, and play it well, but he's not exactly looking to do it. He's looking to play with the team, find the engages, find the ganks. Probably the only team where the offlaner ganks the foreman.
Yeah, so more looking for that aggressive rotations rather than staying and passively soaking. Definitely an aggressive style there from Earl Grey. By the way, speaking of Earl Grey, there's the D talent level 1 from Arthas. Oh, and the roots from Deckard with the Greymane to follow secures the kill on Mal'Ganis.
You mean the auto attack quest? Yes, that is indeed the preferred build of the player. He also likes going W on the Imperious on the level 1, which is a fact that I have told you like 10 times already, but it's just memeable enough to continue talking about it.
There you go. I mean, I don't know much about Imperious myself, so I can't comment as Roots comes out onto Joanna. Yeah, so that full auto attack from Arthas will be interesting because, late game when he's stacked and stuff, if he doesn't get CC'd, and that's a big if, let's be honest, that's a big if he can just keep running in the backliners, he'll just chop all day against the enemies. But
I do believe that the another spicy thing about that particular Arthas is that he likes to pick Sindragosa a lot. So
That could be very spicy indeed, particularly when they've got a web weaver pushing. There's a sleep from Mal'Ganis onto 2 members. They're going to catch the kill onto Joanna. Really well executed from Danny on the tank there.
A lot of gems on the ground, but most of them are picked up instantly. However, those are 4 gems wasted, and every little bit helps when you are down on the brink of elimination and are looking for any chance. You are cornered, but the cornered beast finds the fiercest.
Should be a slight advantage here for BeeHive based on that early kill. So it's a nice play there from them. It's 1 kill apiece, of course, because both the tanks have died so far. But it's a slight XP lead for BeeHive, running at a touch of extra minion XP, as Greymin's coming down to think about doing this siege camp, I assume, but apparently not. It was more just to threaten Imperius and force him to back off.
Yeah, that's a play that Just Cause also like to do. A little bit of a pressure on the enemy offlaner, a little bit of a camp pressure as well if the offlaner dies or if that doesn't work out. And that is a little bit spicy from the Hanzo. We do see redemption on level 1. That's going to be a speedy auto-attack boy.
Yes, it is indeed, and yeah, fully stacked right now until he dies at least. Mal'Ganis, he gets interrupted, but now he can do it again. So the way I think that BeeHive need to play this draft that they've got, and this is what they've been doing, and that's how they got the Joanna kill, is...
Well, first of all, they need to defend the siege camp.
Yes, they do, as Tifa Rabbit goes down and picks that up. This time it wasn't just an aggressive rotation for damage. This time he really did secure that camp. What we're seeing is, though, they just sit back here on the side of BeeHive, throw out the poke from Gul'dan and Sylve, constantly chipping down the front liners of Joanna, and then when the moment comes that Joanna's used her Iron Skin and that goes down, by the way, that's a long cooldown these days, that's when they pull the trigger. That's when they can go in with Mal'Ganis and secure the CC and secure themselves a kill.
Well, they already did at least 1 kill on the Johanna, and so far the strategy does seem to be paying off a little bit. The question is, how can they turn it into something greater? The first wave of Weavers will be a good start, and Erde does manage to get it in, but there is a fight, there is a triangle hitting on top of Juvar, who will get killed, and the second triangle connecting with Mal'Ganis, who will be dead before the Anduin is there with the save.
I'm slightly surprised Joar didn't use that save slightly earlier. I think there was a big range issue, and I think Anduin himself was afraid of getting caught in that triangle, so was trying to stand quite far back, and therefore Mal'Ganis was not in range. So, however, ultimately, despite the Mal'Ganis kill, they did get the Web Weaver hand in on the side of BeeHive, and that will now push in the top lane. And this is where the Sylve and Gul'dan can really come into their element and put a lot of pressure when they're pushing with these Web Weavers. Arthur's zones Imperius completely in that bot lane. Of course, he's gone for the coil at level 4 and 7, so not full auto attack, but that coil gives him basically unlimited ranged poke sustain versus Imperius. Of course, when there's 4 enemies, he's got to be a touch more cautious.
That's actually gonna feel a bit sad for BeeHive. Danny trying to go for a sleep, but unfortunately the gate was not destroyed, so he was forced to just run along the gate from one side to the other, which was almost an engage.
Yeah, I mean, not a huge deal secured with that first objective. 3 towers, given that they had the Sylve and the Gul'dan. I think that Mal'Ganis pick at the start of it was a big factor, because it meant Mal'Ganis was late to the objective, having been dead. And of course, the fact that Arthas could put a bit of pressure on Imperius until his teammates arrived.
And the scariest thing so far is, even despite the objective being taken, only now after taking the hard camp do BeeHive go back into the experience race. And with that, we do have a Weaver wave going from the left to the right. The Ruby popping off a lot of potions there on the ground, which will make sure that Just Cause will not lose any HP whatsoever in this engage. And yeah, here we go.
Yes, so it is Syndragosa. That's going to be potentially devastating here if they use it to engage. And already you see El Grey thinking about rotating top lane, looking to deploy the Frostworm. Decides against it for now, and they are going to push mid because they still have a healthy Web Weaver here. They still have that Syndragosa available though ready to come at any moment. However, Arthur's gone down to the bot lane to secure a bit more soak before coming to mid.
And we have talked about it on our last Doom's Spider Queen games. The team usually tries to push with the mid wave, while the offlaner, if the offlaner is winning the offlane already, the push on the bot lane will be significant, probably even bigger than the push in the mid lane or up top, because the enemy team is going to be trying to defend those two lanes first. So bot lane is going to be rather important. The wall falls down.
Sindragosa onto 4 members. The light bomb though puts the counter engage and Mal'Ganis gets his ultimate off. Sylvanas can't get away though, stunned there by the Joanna, and the sleep comes out to zone everyone else. The Sindragosa is still active on the fort. They're trying to get some value, get the Imperious kill as well as 2 kills for 0 so far, but maybe Gramian's gonna fall. No, the potions are all over him and he's still alive, but even with the minus healing, eventually Gul'dan is the next to fall as well, so it's 3 kills for nothing so far.
That sleep absolutely nasty from this race, as was just disengaged from behind the enemy's fort, which was not operational because of being frosted to and being scared by one very, very Syndra goose.
The goose was set loose there by Just Cause. Brilliant execution, brilliant timing from Arthas, just waiting until the red team got a little bit too complacent in that fort, thinking, yeah, we're clearing the web weavers, it's nearly down, and that's when they pulled the trigger and went in. I like the light bomb, by the way, from Anduin was really good, but it just wasn't enough to hold off the ensuing firepower.
And that's when you start thinking, well, unfortunately, the next opponents of Just Cause will not be watching that series, but I'm pretty sure that every team that's not playing at the moment is definitely looking at the stream and or trying to prepare for their opponents in the semifinals and or finals. So you might start thinking, do I want to ban that Deckard? Because those sleeps so far have been absolutely on point, securing pretty much every fight in favor of Just Cause that they were losing.
Absolutely beautiful, yeah, from the Deckard game player, who's been so on point with those sleeps, as you say, and the potions, of course, as well, providing sustain. The Ruby, again, we know the value of Ruby in those kind of clustered fights, and the Syndra goes there, forcing the fight to be clustered. And of course, Anduin on the other side wants the fight to be clustered because of the light bomb and stuff. So, again, really nice execution from Just Cause. The only thing is, the BeeHive need to be mindful of their own game plan.
Instantly interrupted, but the Sindragosa forcing the engage. Nonetheless, the light bomb will not proc as the Gul'dan is killed before the fight even starts. The engage continues on top of Danny, and Mal'Ganis will be dead because there is no trade to save him. And with that, the Goose is gonna claim another target. The Goose is gonna claim another 2 people, and that fort up top is not going to survive either.
This is one murderous goose so far, and it's causing a lot of problems right now for BeeHive. And the reason is because we were just talking, we were talking about BeeHive strategy in this game and how it has to be all about, Imperious, sorry to interrupt myself here, but yeah, that's not going to end well. Nice rotation there from Just Cause.
That's how I play offlane. That's why we didn't make it play offlane. Yeah.
But I was just going to say, BeeHive, they have that, they want to play for poke and, grind down with Joanna. The problem is when you get Sindragosa'd and Blessed Shielded and Stay a While and Listened and Hanzo Arrowed, bang, you don't have a choice. The fight is being forced. Really good decision making from Just Cause to force that fight when BeeHive want to play it safer, want to poke.
I like the fact that they sit in the bush for a second. They are not trying to take the boss instantly. They are baiting out. Maybe if the enemy shows up a little bit too quickly, we can try to force an engage on them, but even still, we do have the Sonic Arrow to scout out the approaches. We do have Earl Grey anchoring in the bush, and that's how you don't throw in the throw pit.
So they've traded a turn in for a boss here. Like, who's going to get more out of this trade? Given that the blue team has a boss and the red team has web weavers. They're going to hide in the bush here. I think they're not actually going to contest. I mean, so level 16's in. What should BeeHive be doing here?
Well, defending, I guess. I'll be honest. they aren't provided much options. And as we see in those team fights, not exactly looking too great.
Yeah, the problem they have is they can't really do anything with their web weavers because of the talent deficit. And they need to be getting the soak up to 16, but there's basically no chance of them doing that. And also this web weaver pushing out is going to make it harder for them to soak 16 as well. Norak hiding in the bush here, thinking about seeing if anyone rotates dangerously. Gul'dan, don't step too far forwards here.
Ooh, that's a very far Sonic Arrow trying to scout out if maybe someone's trying to rotate safely and it's too late to sit in the bush, but still no one is to be found. And GC just retreat and go to defend the top lane, where the fort is dying out, which probably was even the best strategy of the BeeHive. Try to find in one place and force...
Mid lane though, sorry to interrupt, but there's been a light bomb and Mal'Ganis goes in. They don't have the 16 yet. Mal'Ganis does get his ult off though. That's going to heal him. Huge wailing arrow from Sylvanas, putting pressure. But we better go back.
Everyone. And the pressure is so high that Gul'dan will be forced out of the match. First in a pause, out of the players of BeeHive. That is very unfortunate. Right as you engage into a fight, your carry drops out and is backing out because that's how the AIs work in the current version of the game. That's gonna suck. That's gonna suck hard for BeeHive.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is Gul'dan disconnected. And, you know, in the olden days, an AI would just throw out spells, you know, and do some damage and stuff. But immediately Gul'dan just started halving. And of course, that's the end of the fight, basically, from BeeHive's perspective.
And the first part is, it's not over yet. We do see that the sleep is on 3-second cooldown. They still have the Syndragosa. They still have the Dragon Arrow to find the fight.
This could be a massacre.
Ooh, holy shit. Peace was never an option. Peace was never an option.
This is going to be very tough here as we go back into this game.
And...
Syndragosa immediately comes out, followed by the Hanzo arrow onto Gul'dan. Beautiful save from Shuar onto the Gul'dan, and the Horrified to Joanna is turned it around. It's a kill, but Mal'Ganis is going to fall next, but it's 1-for-1. And by the way, there's still a huge wave pushing at the top. Look at these pings onto Gul'dan from his teammates.
Just dropped on the ground, will disappear. Does Rise being the next target, and the BeeHive will not find the win in this fight because Sylvanas is overstepping a little bit, and Imperius does so as well. Beedrill not looking too healthy, and Juar will find himself alone right as they were starting to win that fight.
Oh, it was almost glorious for BeeHive. Absolutely disgustingly good Horrify from Gul'dan. Nearly won them that fight. And by the way, they had a wave pushing top lane, so there would have been pressure on that keep as well had they won that fight just then. Joanna gets picked off, and Decker just survived by the skin of his teeth. I think if that Decker dies then Sylv doesn't step up trying to get this follow-up kill, and then they've got no healers, and it would have all tumbled into place for BeeHive. But Decker got away by the skin of his teeth.
And you see how small the margins are. You see how much the teams know the limits of the characters that they are playing. The Deckard just being able to survive slightly, and that changes the entire fight, because here's one pick, here's the other pick, because the Sylvanas is trying to get this low Deckard that will die, surely will die, right? And he will not.
Brilliantly executed from Just Cause. But I mean, I have to say credit to BeeHive, because that was a phenomenal performance from them. Because it looked like, because we were saying this is going to be a massacre because the Syndragosa was there, the Hanzo arrow, and Gul'dan just about got away. I mean, great save from Anduin in the first place on the Gul'dan, followed by the immediate Horrify from Gul'dan to catch the Joanna. But it just wasn't enough. However, they are still well and truly in this game. Even talents, they've still got all their keeps. They're only, in fact, 2 forts down. Like, forts are not the end of the world. The problem they have...
A bit of momentum on their side, but there's a Syndragosa, there's a light bomb. However, on Norak, the Mal'Ganis will die before Carrion Swarm is proc. And that engaged will not quite work for BeeHive, but it sure as hell will work for Just Cause. Imperius is dead, Mal'Ganis is dead, and Sylvanas was dead from the start. Because bench, you know.
That is a rough situation now for BeeHive, because they're going to push top with the Web Weavers Just Cause here. They're going to get the level 20 very, very soon as well. They're going to be pushing into this top keep already. And with 3 members dead on the side of BeeHive, how do you defend this? Is this the beginning of the end of BeeHive's dreams of winning the Rare Cup? Are the Division 6 champions about to go down in this Web Weaver push?
Well, now we invoke the words of one anonymous chat. Is this clonable? And well, while you can definitely finish every game and you can definitely win every game, you can also just throw every game on a whim. And unfortunately, that's probably one of the only outs that BeeHive have. But that's engaged. However, Deckard Kane is dead before Stay a While and Listen procs. The Dragon Arrow to
They can't. They mustn't chase too hard here.
However, and the fight continues. The fight continues. Danny stays alive, but Johanna dies. Imperius is being traded, and Just Cause are now on the offensive. Gul'dan is dead. Nickel Tata finding damage on Hidden. Earl Grey not looking too healthy. And once again, they are surviving on those slim margins, less than a quarter of their HP, but they are alive, and the keeps are falling down because there are web weavers attacking them.
I just think it was a little bit too greedy here from BeeHive to chase. The Deckard kill was absolutely perfectly done from them, and well played to punish that Deckard who stepped up for a stay a while and listen. Really nice play from them. But thereafter, it was like they were so desperate to get kills when they could have just cleared those web weavers for free at that point, and it would have been, you know, free defense. And then they still have, you know, 40 seconds to do whatever they want on the map. Maybe they could have gone boss, but because they chased and then they left the web weavers pushing for free. 2 keeps down now and 2 forts. Those lanes are going to get hammered consistently for the rest of the game. And of course, they were also chasing 19 versus 20. Yes, they got a kill, but ultimately they traded some of their own lives for it as well. And
yes, that's another one of those equal trades that aren't quite equal in the end. But to be fair, I don't blame BeeHive. I would have probably chased for the kills as well myself, because you have gotten them on the defensive, you have gotten them down, you have their healer dead, you are ahead, you need to find the fight, right?
This boss has been picked up, and it's going to be potentially game here.
And they can't even turn in the champs because they don't have enough. They need 3 more to get the wave, and most of those are on the Imperius, which is not even in the important spot. But the boss is now entering the base. We do have the 5 people of Just Cause. Both teams having level 20, which might come in important.
They need to take a fight, though, I think, BeeHive. Otherwise, they'll just get crowned down. They need to drive away the blue team. In comes the Syndra Gosa, though, with the upgrade at level 20 with the roots. In comes the CC. The Stay a While and Listen. The Hanzo Arrow comes out. But here's the Light Bomb, getting actual serious value. And 2 members have gone down on the blue team. Imperius started to chase, put pressure onto Deckard, but the core's falling so low. They've got to clear that boss. Greymane's still surviving for a few seconds, enough to take out the Sylvanas, but the boss is going to finish the game. 20%. Is it going all the way? It is. It's GG. Well played.
And with that, the Pool 1 team that has placed first in the higher division of the cup with 9 victories out of 10 has been dropped out of the competition.
Yeah.
Why? Just cause.
Exactly. Just cause. And brilliantly executed from Just Cause at the end there. The boss, I think BeeHive weren't even aware that it was going on. Just great call from Just Cause to know this is a win condition. Let's seize it. We've seen Imperius in the bot lane. We're going to go for this boss, and that will secure us the GG. And a great fight from BeeHive. You know, some really good fights from BeeHive throughout that game when they looked on the back foot. The boss defense fight at the end there, great play from BeeHive, and the fight before that. But it just wasn't enough because ultimately it's the call that matters, and that is what Just Cause prioritized with that boss call.
And, you know, playing safe sometimes works, but unfortunately, Anduin having 0 deaths in this massacre, the only player in the game to do so, will not quite help his team to achieve some victories.
So, yes, that is 2-0 to Just Cause, and they are going to go through to the next semi-final. Let's see how who's going to be matching up against them from the other side of the bracket. The other quarterfinal that's going on. Britwing have just won 2-0, so it's going to the second semi-final is going to be Just Cause versus Britwing, and that will be coming up in about an hour and a half or so on this channel. But first, we're going to have the first of our semi-finals, which is going to be Quackamole versus Facepalm Tacticians. However, before we do that, we're going to have a quick break to bring in our next caster, because this is the end. This is the last you're going to see of me. I'm going to be replaced by Aviator, but Yosh is going to carry on and deliver more of his Rare Cup wisdom. Exactly. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. We'll leave you with some of the highlights from these first couple of series. So don't go anywhere. We will be back very soon.